Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Robert Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. All right, NCAA college football week number 5. We got some exciting games this week. We actually have some games that I would consider playoff caliber games. We almost have some elimination style games, and I say that because, like in the Big Ten, we have a couple undefeated teams playing one another. In the SEC, we have undefeated teams playing one another. They're going to end up knocking themselves out of the playoffs because if we look at the playoffs, I know it's only week 5. It's never too early to take a look ahead. You have to either be undefeated or one loss to make the playoffs. We've seen that time in, time out. When you have, like our first game here, we have the 5th-ranked Iowa Hawkeyes 4-0 versus the 4th-ranked Maryland Terrapins 4-0. So you have two 4-0 teams out of the Big 12, out of the Big 10, excuse me. Now, one of those teams will be in this game one loss. One will be undefeated. Now, as you look forward, if that one-loss team gets a second loss, they're done for the most part. Now, that undefeated team goes undefeated, they're more likely in the playoffs, so you can almost go back to this game and how it affects these two schools. In the Big Ten West is where Iowa plays. Iowa is the only undefeated team. Purdue has one loss. Maryland's in the Big Ten East. They're undefeated. So is Michigan, Michigan State, and Penn State. So it's like you're not only are you playing this game, you're also playing the future. It's like, okay, if we after the season's over with and we missed the playoffs because we had one loss or two losses, we can go back for Maryland, Iowa to this game and say, look, if we would have won that game, our season may have been different. Now Iowa in the season is scoring 28 points, giving up 11. Maryland scoring 37 points. It's got a little more powerful offense. But how's that offense going to go against Iowa's defense? Iowa's favored by 4 on the road. I'm actually picking Iowa to win this. I got them covering the 4 points and under on the 46. Next up, we have the 13th-ranked BYU Cougars, who are 4-0, versus the Utah State Aggies, who are 3-1. There are 3 independent teams in the independent conference that are undefeated: BYU, Notre Dame, and Army. As we've seen in the past, if you're a non-conference team, if you're an independent team like Notre Dame, you literally have to go undefeated and have a tier 1 type schedule in order to even be considered for the playoffs. That's why I think they need to redo the playoffs and redo the conferences. If you follow Robert Sports Show at all, if you haven't, please subscribe to the channel here. Follow me on Twitter at Rob Sports Show. You go back, if you go down to where all the the playlists are, to the college football playlist, you'll see a video of what I've done a couple years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. It was basically realignment. Check that out, because I've basically went through all 130 FBS teams, realigned them kind of more in regional, in where you have 16 division. 16 division. Hold on, I can't even think. It's early in the morning. At 8 conferences, 16 divisions. Your divisions, so you have 8 conferences. Each conference has 2 divisions. Your conference final, your division winner versus your division winner. Then you have 8 playoff teams. Boom, there you go. That's how you see it. That way, a team like a BYU, if they win their division, they at least make the conference finals. Then they at least have a shot at making the playoffs. The current playoff format we have, you have to be on the committee's list in order to be even considered, and the committee doesn't consider non-Power 5 teams unless you're Notre Dame. But hey, that's just my opinion, right? BYU is favored by 7.5. I got them winning, covering under on the 59.5. Now, another one of those huge matchups we talked about, like with the Big 12 out of the SEC, we have the 8th-ranked Arkansas Razorbacks 4-0 versus the number 2 seed Georgia Bulldogs, who are also 4-0. If you look at the SEC, Georgia is in the East. Georgia and Kentucky are both undefeated. Florida has 1 loss. Over in the West, you have Alabama and Arkansas both undefeated, and Ole Miss. You have LSU, Auburn, and Texas A&M with 1 loss. So yeah, you got a lot of competition there for a big. Obviously, it's a big Power 5 conference. You have a lot of competition there on who's going to be where. Arkansas, they're scoring 35 points a game, giving up 14. Georgia scoring 42, giving up 5. Now, this line is 18.5 for Georgia. Arkansas is better than I thought, but maybe I'm wrong. So I'm taking Georgia to win. I am taking Georgia to cover that 18.5. Here's why. Their defense has given up in 4 games 23 points. They're going to stop. But can Arkansas's defense stop Georgia? That's the question. So I got Georgia covering the 18.5. I am actually taking over on the 49. So Georgia wins, covers, and over on the 49. Back to the Big Ten, we have the 14th ranked Michigan Wolverines 4-0 versus the Wisconsin Badgers 1-2. Michigan is one of 4 teams that are in the Big Ten that are undefeated. So this is almost a must-win to keep track with those other teams, to keep their undefeated status going. For whatever reason, because they're at home. Wisconsin is favored by 2. I'm giving that 2 to Michigan. I got Michigan winning, covering the 2, over on the 43.5. From the Big 12, 3-1 Texas Longhorns versus 2-1 TCU Horned Frogs. Texas favored by 5. I got them winning, covering, and over on the 65.5. The ACC Atlantic 1 versus 2. Louisville Cardinals 3-1 versus the 24th ranked Wake Forest Demon Deacons, who are 4-0. Wake Forest is favored by 6.5. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 61.5. Now, 2 top 10 ranked teams. More than likely, only one of them has a shot at making the playoffs. We have the 7th ranked Cincinnati Bearcats, who are 3-0, versus the 9th ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish, who are 4-0. There's 2 ACC teams that are undefeated, SMU and Cincinnati. I don't think either one of them would make the playoff 4. Notre Dame, though, if they stay undefeated, they could, because we've seen it happen. Precedents. Cincinnati is favored by 2.5. I like Notre Dame in this game. I like them at home. I think they're a better football team. I got Notre Dame winning, covering the 2.5, and over on the 15.5. Next up, we have the University of Louisiana Monroe Warhawks 2-1 versus the 16th ranked Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina is 4-0. They've had a really good season for them. They are favored by 34.5. I got UL Monroe, the Warhawks, covering the 34.5 and under on the 57. SEC West matchup, 12th ranked Ole Miss Rebels 3-0 versus the number 1 ranked 4-0 Alabama Crimson Tide. Again, we know who teams are undefeated in the SEC. Here's 2 more of them, head-to-head. Ole Miss could play the spoiler here. They could give Alabama their first loss of the season. Highly unlikely. Alabama is favored by 14.5. That's a weird number. I hate those kind of, the 7.5s, the 14.5s. Because if Ole Miss only loses by 2 touchdowns, unless you covered them, you lose. So this one was tough for me because Ole Miss is scoring 52 points a game, giving up 20. Alabama's only scoring 46 and giving up 17. So I'm got Alabama to win. There was no question there. I have Ole Miss covering the 14.5, and then I'm taking under on that 79.5. That's a big number. Watch this game go like 50-49 or something stupid. But I'm still taking under on the 79.5. All right, out of the Big Ten, we have the 11th ranked Ohio State Buckeyes 3-1 versus the 3-1 Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Ohio State's favored by 15. I get them winning, covering, and over on the 58.5. Big 12 time. We have the 6th ranked Oklahoma Sooners 4-0 versus the 3-1 Kansas State Wildcats. Oklahoma is one of 3 Big 12 teams that are undefeated. Baylor and Oklahoma State are the other 2. Oklahoma is favored by 10.5 on the road. I got them winning, covering, and over on the 52.5. Hey, it is the Big 12. It's got to go over, right? Next up, we have the third-ranked Oregon Ducks 4-0 versus the 2-2 Stanford Cardinals. This is the Pac-12 North matchup. Oregon Ducks are one of 4 teams that are undefeated. Oh no, sorry, they're the only undefeated team, and there is 3 teams with 1 loss: Oregon State, Arizona, and UCLA. So right now, Oregon is the only undefeated team in the Pac-12. Oregon is favored by 8. I got them winning, covering, and over on the 57.5. Now, out of the American Conference, we have 2 undefeated teams left there. We have the South Florida Bulls, who are 1-3, going up against the SMU Mustangs, who are 4-0. The Mustangs are favored by 20.5. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 68. Army West Point Black Knights, who are 4-0, versus the 1-3 Ball State Cardinals. Army's favored by 7.5. I got them winning, covering, and over on the 47. Now, SEC East, we have the 10th ranked Florida Gators, who are 3-1, versus the undefeated 4-0 Kentucky Wildcats. Florida is one of 4 teams in the SEC with 1 loss: LSU, Auburn, and Texas A&M. Kentucky is one of 5 teams in the SEC with undefeated: Georgia, who's in the SEC East with them, and then Alabama, Arkansas, and Clemson. So this matchup, Florida gets 2 losses, their playoff hopes are gone. Kentucky with 1 loss, even an undefeated Kentucky, I don't know. Undefeated Kentucky would have to literally upset Alabama, Georgia, and win the SEC in order to even consider for the playoffs, and I doubt they would be. I got Florida winning, covering Florida winning. Florida's favored by 8. Again, that's a weird number. So I got Kentucky covering the 8. So it's going to be a touchdown score, I'm thinking. And then over on the 55. The Louisiana Tech Bulldogs 2-2 versus the 23rd ranked NC State Wolfpack 3-1. The Wolfpack is favored by 20. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 55. We have the battle of an undefeated team versus a winless team. We have the 0-4 UNLV Rebels versus the 4-0 University of Texas San Antonio Roadrunners. Roadrunners are favored by 21 at home. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 56. Funny thing is, I didn't write that down, so I'm going to write that down now. Roadrunners winning, covering, and under on the 56. Battle of the 3-1 teams, the Liberty Flames versus the UAB Blazers. UAB is favored by 1.5 on the road. I'm going with UAB at home. I'm giving them the 1.5. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 50. Big 12, 1 versus 2. 21st ranked Baylor Bears 4-0 versus the 19th ranked Oklahoma State Cowboys 4-0. Again, they are 2 of 3 teams that are undefeated. Oklahoma is the only other team. And who is Oklahoma playing? Oh yeah, the 3-1 Kansas State Wildcats. So I got Oklahoma staying undefeated. I got them winning against Kansas State. And here, I have the home team. I have the Oklahoma State Cowboys winning, covering the 3.5 and over on the 47.5. So in the Big 12, I have both Oklahoma teams staying undefeated. Now the SEC West, Mississippi State Bulldogs 2-2 versus the 15th ranked Texas A&M Aggies 3-1. Aggies are favored by a touchdown at home. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 46. ACC Atlantic, we have the 4-0 Boston College Eagles versus the 25th ranked Clemson Tigers, who are 2-2. Weird saying 2-loss Clemson Tigers. Clemson is favored by 15.5. I don't like Clemson here at all. I like Boston College. I like the way they're playing this year. Scoring 41 points a game, only giving up 16. You know what? We're doing this. We got Boston College. We're giving them the 15.5. Clemson covers it. And then taking over in the 46. So Boston College winning, Clemson covering the 15.5, and then over on the 46. Big Ten East, we have the Indiana Hoosiers 2-2 versus the 4th ranked Penn State Nittany Lions, who are undefeated at 4-0. Penn State is favored by 12.5. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 53.5. SEC West, we have the 22 ranked Auburn Tigers 3-1 versus the LSU Tigers 3-1. Now there's 2 of the 3 teams that are 3-1 in the SEC going up against each other. One of these teams went with 2 losses. Their playoff hopes pretty much are done. Auburn scoring 44 points a game. LSU 34 points a game. Now, here's the kicker with this one. LSU's favored by 3.5 at home. Death Valley on a Saturday night. Who can go in LSU and beat them on a Saturday night? Not too many people. LSU wins, covers the 3.5 and over in the 54.5. Next up, the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers 1-2 versus 17th ranked Michigan State Spartans 4-0. Michigan State favored by 10.5. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 64. Sun Belt West. Again, now goes back to the playoff. Go back to the realignment. Nobody in the Sun Belt is making the championship four. No chances in hell. At least in my realignment video that I've talked about. If they win their division, they win their conference, they have a chance. Here, there's no chance in hell. At least then, 1 out of 8 chance. 1 out of 16 chance to win their division. At least there's a chance. Here, there's no way. You can go undefeated in the Sun Belt. The Power 5 teams can have 3 losses. The Sun Belt's not making the Final Four. So we have the Louisiana Raging Cajuns 3-1 versus the 3-0 South Alabama Jaguars. Louisiana's favored by 12.5. I got them winning, covering it over on the 53. Pac-12 South 1 versus 2. A couple 3-1 Pac-12 teams here. Arizona State Sun Devils 3-1. The 20th ranked UCLA Bruins 3-1. There's 3 one-loss teams in the Pac-12. These 2 and then Oregon State. UCLA is favored by 3.5. I got them winning, covering, and I didn't write this one down either. So I got UCLA covering. I'm going over on that 55.5 because I could see UCLA scoring 30 plus points, Arizona scoring 30 plus points, and getting this definitely over that 55.5. And then last but not least, we have the 18th ranked Fresno State Bulldogs 4-1 versus Hawaii Rainbow Warriors 2-3. Fresno State is favored by 10. I got them winning, covering, and over on the 65.5. All right, so that wraps up week number 5 for the NCAA college football season. If you're a football fan, make sure you check out the CFL Week 9 already up on our Robert Sports Show, and then coming soon our Robert Sports Show, NFL Week 4, along with NASCAR preview of Talladega. As always, thanks for watching the Robert Sports Show. Don't just have a great day. Have a spiffy day. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports channel content.